There is something about July 13th and 14 that doesn't feel right. For many, these days will bring tension, emotional triggers, and a sense of exhaustion, as if the universe is testing your last thread of patience, and if you're not aligned, you'll be swept away by this energy quickly. But here's the truth. What seems like chaos on the surface is, in fact, a hidden spiritual challenge designed to break illusions and force clarity. It's not just a bad day. It's a powerful spiritual checkpoint. In this video, you will understand why July 13th and 14 are spiritually heavy, the hidden opportunity within this intensity, the emotional and energetic signs that you're being tested, how the chosen ones can transform these days into a personal breakthrough, what you must avoid to remain aligned these days can pull you off your path or anchor you even more firmly in your mission. The outcome depends on how conscious you are. Arc spirituality, arc astrology, arc your universe, arc your prophecy. You may have felt in recent days a restlessness you can't name, a discomfort that doesn't come from the body but from the soul. It's as if something is being pressed within you, as if an old part of your identity is undergoing silent combustion, and it is. Because the invisible fire of July is not a calendar event. It's a vibrational activation, a hidden call that reverberates in the deepest layers of your being. And it doesn't come with explanations. It comes with symptoms, with a fatigue that can't be justified, with dreams that feel like codes, with old memories rising like echoes of a time you've tried to forget. But this fire doesn't burn to destroy. It burns to purify. We are within an alchemical process that operates in silence, the true solve et coagula of the spirit. July didn't begin on the 1st, nor does it end on the 31st. July is a vibrational stage, a hidden furnace where everything that no longer resonates with your essence is being dissolved. And this dissolution, though painful, is necessary. Invisible contracts are being burned. Pacts you made with past versions of yourself are being undone in the etheric plane. You feel this as a kind of illogical detachment, a desire to leave places, break routines, shed masks. And no matter how much you try to resist, your soul has already decided. It is asking to be reborn. This transmutation doesn't wait for your rational permission. It obeys the call of your essence, a call you yourself issued in other lives, in heightened states of consciousness, in secret vows made before time. That's why this fire burns without you having lit it. That's why it acts even while you sleep, because spiritual alchemy doesn't need your mind. It responds to your frequency. And if you feel this inner heat, this subtle disorder, this sense that everything is out of place, don't fear. What's out of place is what can no longer stay. What's crumbling is what sustained your vibrational prison. It's in the silence of this fire that great transformations begin. There's no fanfare, no spectacle, only the invisible heat of spiritual transmutation. And as uncomfortable as it may be, you're not being punished, you're being forged, like an ancient metal being placed back in the flame to take on a new form, like a broken vessel being melted to be reborn, purer, more aligned, more authentic. Don't try to extinguish this fire. Honor it. Breathe. Be silent. Trust. And it's in this invisible fire that the crossing begins. But there's something even deeper manifesting in the hidden plane. There are forces that don't ask for passage, they simply return. And Saturn, the great cosmic timekeeper, has just done so. On July 13th, it began its retrograde path. But don't be fooled by the term. Saturn isn't moving backward in time. It's moving backward in vibration. And when this ruler of sacred structures turns in reverse, something ancestral is activated in the subtle field. It's not an ordinary regression. It's a rite of revision, an invisible call that pierces through the layers of your being and illuminates all the silent pacts you've made throughout your spiritual journey, in this life or others. Saturn is often misunderstood, associated with rigidity, limitations, karma. But the initiated understand that it doesn't punish, it returns. It doesn't demand like a tyrant, but like a stern master who believes in your spiritual potential. When it reverses its march in the zodiac, it's examining the foundations of your temple, the vibrational columns that sustain your journey, and everything built with carelessness, forgetfulness, or disguised self-forgiveness will be exposed, not out of cruelty, but out of commitment. Because Saturn is the guardian of spiritual coherence, in this cycle you may feel called to look at old patterns, forgotten promises, paths abandoned because they seemed too difficult. Saturn touches the wounds of inner neglect. It illuminates where you stopped out of fear, where you pretended not to hear, where you gave up too soon, and in doing so, it brings everything back. But now with vibrational interest. Because everything you ignored returns, not to punish you, but to allow you to choose differently, to offer you once again the path of inner righteousness. Those who have been walking in presence, in truth, in search of alignment, will notice something rare, a silent clarity, as if suddenly the right steps were more visible. Answers that lingered now emerge in silence. Intuition aligns with time. But for those who have walked ignoring their own signs, Saturn will seem merciless, as if life has stalled, as if everything that once worked is now in ruins, but in truth it's merely the return of what was sown. There's no escaping cosmic accounting. Saturn is the scribe of the invisible. It records the vows your soul made, not the ones spoken but the ones felt. And now, with its energy reversed, it returns to reread those vows, to test their validity, to demand their fulfillment. You'll feel this as a persistent vibration, like an inner call saying, do you still honor what you promised? Do you still remember what you asked for? And even if your mind hesitates, your soul already knows the answer. And if you heed the call and accept the mirror, the crossing will be tough but precise, because the temple will only be rebuilt on what withstands Saturn's gaze. But there's something even deeper manifesting in the hidden plane. There's a sacred architecture that cannot be seen with ordinary eyes. It surrounds you, it sustains you, it responds to every thought, every choice, every vibration. This temple isn't made of stone or wood, it's made of frequencies, and in this cycle it's being restructured, silently, without fanfare, without permission. Because this reorganization is orchestrated by an intelligence older than visible time. Something in you is being shifted, even if you don't understand. The physical body seems to follow its routine, but the etheric body, the one that pulses beyond the flesh, is being transported to a new place of resonance. You feel it, even without knowing its name. Dizziness without reason, pressure in the ears, sudden fatigue, insomnia or excessive sleep, sensations of not being here, loss of pleasure in things that once nourished you, a strange longing for something you've never lived. These are all manifestations of the vibrational field in realignment. Your temple is closed for visitors. There's construction happening in the invisible. And the mistake would be to insist on maintaining routine as if nothing were happening. The wise don't resist the invisible. They bow before the mystery with reverence. It's as if cosmic engineers were redesigning your subtle geometry, adjusting angles, clearing obsolete structures, removing energetic patterns inherited from stories that are no longer yours. The invisible temple is where your essence resides, and now it's being prepared to support a new vibration, higher, more coherent with who you truly are. But this preparation requires silence, withdrawal, inner reverence. You don't build a cathedral in haste. You don't raise a new structure without dismantling the old one. Many at this moment will feel disconnected from the external world. Relationships will seem distant, tasks will lose meaning, time will feel suspended. This is all part of the reorganization. because the field that sustained you before is being deactivated, and a new field is being established. What once made sense now feels like noise. The people who understood you now seem to speak another language. This isn't separation, it's vibrational displacement. You're being led to a new inner space, wider, quieter, more authentic. So allow yourself not to have answers, allow yourself not to understand, allow yourself to slow down. Your temple is undergoing sacred construction, and forcing normalcy now is like trying to dance on scaffolding, dangerous and futile. Embrace the void, honor the pause, notice the signs, and remember, the sacred always reorganizes before it reveals. The universe is preparing your spiritual home for a visit that can only happen when everything is in place. Until then, may you know how to be silent, not out of fear, but out of reverence. And it's in the silence of this reconstruction that the foundations of the new destiny begin to be drawn. But there's something even deeper manifesting in the hidden plane. Have you noticed how certain numbers appear when something is about to change? They're not coincidences. They're not just digits on a clock or dates on a calendar. They're codes, vibrational keys, signatures of the invisible. And in this cycle, one of them is manifesting with growing strength, 1314, not as a superstition, but as a symbolic call. A cosmic password that, if recognized, unlocks deep layers of your spiritual transition. The 13 represents symbolic death, not of the body, but of the version of you that you've outgrown. The 14 represents the leap, the crossing between what was and what is beginning to be. Together, they form the code of mutation. This sequence wasn't placed by chance. It marks a frequency of passage, a corridor between dimensions. Those who feel something different on July 13th and 14 are being called to break a contract with the old time, to release vibrationally all pacts with past versions of themselves that no longer sustain the new. And this isn't simple, because 1314 comes to tear silent agreements, to cut invisible cords, to undo internal promises you don't even remember making. But that still governed your decisions, your fears, your patterns. Many are seeing this number in dreams, on license plates, on clocks, in small signs. Others simply feel it, as if it vibrates around them. It appears because your soul is already approaching the portal. When you recognize 1314, something aligns, and this activation doesn't happen in the mind. It happens in the field, in the energetic body, and that's why, after noticing this code, you may feel more sensitive, more vulnerable, more exposed, because what's being exposed is your essence, and it's about to cross. But for the crossing to occur, something must die. Something must be left behind, a story, a cycle, a person, a fear, a dream that's no longer yours. Because the code 1314 is the password for an initiatory crossing, it only works when you accept losing what no longer serves you, when you stop fighting to hold on to what has already been energetically disconnected. That's why, in this cycle, so many things are failing without explanation. Relationships break, contracts end, machines malfunction, plans stagnate. Because, spiritually, the agreements that sustained those connections have already been torn in another layer. This is a code of activation, and by perceiving it, commenting on it, meditating on it, or simply feeling it, you're already within the process. You've already accepted, even unconsciously, to go through the transmutation, and everything around you will begin to behave as if you're about to depart, because you are, departing from the old version, departing from the old time, departing from what was comfortable but no longer coherent. It's a vibrational birth, and your whole body will feel it. Because those who activate 1314 don't return the same, but there's something even deeper manifesting in the hidden plane. There are nights when the sky closes on the outside but opens on the inside. Nights when the body sleeps but the soul is summoned. Between July 13th and 14, many will feel a silent presence lingering in the air, a nearly imperceptible vibration, as if the walls between planes become porous. And in this threshold, something happens that cannot be seen, only felt, the encounter with the etheric mirror, a summoning of the spirit to look beyond the linear timeline, to see, even if for seconds, what is in vibrational gestation. Don't expect rational explanations. This mirror isn't physical. It doesn't reflect appearances. It reveals essence. It doesn't show what the ego desires, but what the soul is destined to manifest. Often, this encounter happens in dreams, in daydreams, in a moment of insomnia filled with senseless images. But for the spiritual field, it's all language. Some will see doors. Others, staircases, corridors, windows open to nothingness. Some will hear names. Others will awaken with tears, not knowing why, but all in some way will have touched a fragment of the destiny pulsing ahead. The Night of Mirrors is a silent rite of activation. It doesn't announce itself, it can't be controlled, it doesn't repeat. And even if your memory doesn't retain it, your soul knows. Because after this contact, nothing vibrates the same. Certain people drift away without explanation. Old desires crumble. New ideas emerge with intensity. Doubt increases, but so does silent certainty. It's as if something inside you says, "You saw," and now you can't pretend you don't know. This reflection isn't just a glimpse. It's a choice being planted. What you saw is there, in the field of possibilities, but it won't manifest on its own. It requires movement, renunciation, vibrational discipline. The soul showed the future you can live. Now it's up to the spirit to choose to cross, and this crossing can be uncomfortable, because it demands letting go of all the reflections you accepted as yours, but were merely echoes of who you no longer are. During this moment, strange thoughts, intense feelings, sudden decisions may arise. This isn't instability, it's a reaction to what was seen. The mirror doesn't ask for explanation, it asks for listening, not with the ears, but with the field, with the vibrational heart. And if you truly saw, even without remembering, the path has already begun to change beneath your feet, and you'll feel it in the silence between the days, in the space between thoughts, in the pause that precedes a new stage, because the mirror doesn't lie, it only reveals what is already coming. But there's something even deeper manifesting in the hidden plane. You may be trying to find a logical cause for what your body has been feeling. But in this cycle, the body isn't sick, it's speaking. It has become an oracle, a decoder of the invisible. Because there are moments when the soul moves so deeply, so beyond ordinary perception, that the body must take on the role of translator. And it does so with signs, with sensations, with symptoms that defy any traditional diagnosis. The fatigue that doesn't pass, the inexplicable buzzing, the tingles that come from nowhere, the chills without fever, the pressure in the chest without defined sadness. All of this is vibrational language. The soul is receiving codes, updates, new frequencies that arrive as subtle but powerful waves, and the body, with all its ancestral wisdom, tries to keep up. It doesn't understand with words. It understands with sensations. It's as if the cells are reorganizing, as if the nervous system is scanning parallel realities. It's a process of fine-tuning between what you were and what you're about to become. But for this, something must be released. The old must be purged. Energetic toxins, unresolved memories, frozen emotions, everything begins to move in search of liberation. That's why the body may ache without a wound, may tremble without cold, may cry without sadness, may laugh without reason. It's responding to the invisible. With every new coding that enters, there's an impact on the subtle layers of energetic physiology, and the more you resist, the louder the body screams, because it doesn't want punishment, it wants to be heard, It wants you to stop, to feel, to ask, what are you trying to show me? This is the time for inner listening, for reverence to the physical temple, not to control it, but to honor it. Many reject the symptoms, try to numb them, ignore them. But the initiated know there's a message there, an instruction, a seed. By embracing each sensation as a symbol, you activate the decoding. The body calms, the field opens, the flow is restored. That's why, in this portal, resting isn't laziness, it's vibrational obedience. Fasting isn't deprivation, it's subtle alignment. Breathing deeply isn't therapy, it's an invocation of presence. Honoring the body now is honoring the code. And those who surrender with reverence to the language of symptoms will notice, in the coming weeks, a silent expansion, a subtle clarity, a new strength that doesn't come from muscle, but from an integrated soul. Because when the body speaks on behalf of the spirit, every pain carries a revelation, but there's something even deeper manifesting in the hidden plane. There comes a point in the journey when the signs cease. The spiritual clock seems to fall silent. The synchronistic numbers disappear. Dreams become opaque. The messages that once appeared everywhere vanish, and the seeker finds themselves before an emptiness, an absence, a pause. But don't be mistaken. This absence isn't abandonment. It's elevated presence. It's the moment when the universe observes without intervening. It's the stage when higher consciousness has already given you everything you needed and now awaits your vibrational response, without pushing, without confirming, without repeating. This is the silent presence and one of the most refined tests of the spiritual path, because in it, nothing seems to happen outwardly, but everything is being sealed inwardly. It's in this space of silence that your coherence is measured. Not by words, but by frequency. Not by what you say you believe, but by what you vibrate when no one is watching. When the sky falls silent, it's to see if you still believe without seeing, if you keep going without signs, if you walk without the applause of the invisible. Many feel anguish in this stage, a sense of spiritual abandonment, a sudden fear of being wrong, of being alone, of being forgotten. But this is exactly the test. Who are you when there's no light on the path? Who do you choose to be when the echo fades? The universe isn't distant. It's testing your vibrational maturity. It wants to see if you sustain what you've awakened, or if it was just dependence on external signs. It's at this point that many turn back. They revert to the old. They try to force signs. But the wise silence even more, because they understand that this silence is sacred. It's like a master who, after years of teaching, finally stops speaking and just watches, not because they've given up on the student,